Humiliated but defiant, Cameron's heavy defeat in Europe. The Prime Minister fails to block Jean Claude Junker from the top job in Brussels, but warns it's a decision the EU will live to regret.
This is going to be a long, tough fight, and frankly, sometimes you have to be ready to lose a battle in order to win a war.
Also tonight, joining the Jihadists, remarkable footage of a British student in Syria.
It's like working in Narnia, a hospital boss on the A&E crisis in England.
And the power is pulled at Glastonbury as thunder and lightning rolls in.
This is ITV News at 6:30 with Mark Austin and Charlene White.
Good evening. David Cameron was defeated but defiant tonight after suffering a humiliating setback in Europe. He failed to block arch-federalist Jean Claude Junker from getting the top job in Brussels, losing by 26 votes to 2.
The Prime Minister said sometimes you have to lose a battle to win the war. But one European leader told him to wake up and smell the coffee. In a moment, reaction from Westminster. But first to Brussels and this report from our Europe editor, James Mates.
A month ago, he was confidently predicting victory, a clear British win against the Federalists of Brussels. Today, defeat certain. All Cameron could claim was to have stuck to his principles.
I know the odds are stacked against me, but that doesn't mean you change your mind. It means you stand up for what you believe and you vote accordingly.
The curious thing about Jean Claude Juncker, chosen today to head the European Commission, is that he's a man few of the leaders really wanted, an arch-federalist, claimed by the British press to be a heavy drinker. He was the candidate put forward by the European Parliament, and yet Cameron could muster only one ally, Hungary, to rally to his cause. This doesn't augur well for his plans to reform the EU ahead of a referendum.
Frankly, sometimes you have to be ready to lose a battle in order to win a war.
Jean Claude Juncker is a man who few of the leaders really wanted. This should have been an easy win for you. It turned into a crushing defeat.
I never had any doubt that this was going to be very, very tough. Never had any doubt that it would be very, very difficult to divert Europe away from this, I believe, wrong path. But as I say, if you've got a clear view, tell people what the view is and stick to it.
Cameron had demanded and was given a formal vote. As soon as Britain's defeat was confirmed, the others did agree to language which said that Britain's concerns about the future of the EU will have to be addressed and that an ever closer union may not be for everyone. But important allies like the Dutch, the Swedes, the Finns have been left disappointed by Cameron's intransigence.
In the UK, some people really seriously need to wake up and smell the coffee. The European Union is a very good thing for the United Kingdom. Over 50% of the trade of the UK goes to the EU.
Most ominously of all, in his hour of need, David Cameron was deserted by Germany's Angela Merkel. I was aware others had reservations, she said, but I do have every interest in the United Kingdom remaining a member of the EU. If David Cameron can't win her back to his side, this may not be the last time he finds himself leaving an EU summit, isolated and defeated. James Mates, ITV News, Brussels.
Labour leader Ed Miliband pounced on David Cameron's defeat in Brussels, calling him a toxic Prime Minister. UKIP leader Nigel Farage, whose success prompted the rethink on Europe, claimed the vote was pushing Britain closer to the EU exit door. From Westminster, our political correspondent Carl Dinnan reports.
It's one thing for a Prime Minister to stand up to Europe and win, but to do it and lose has left Britain looking isolated in the EU and has exposed David Cameron's tactics to criticism at home.
His advocacy of the position that he's taken against Mr Juncker, which is a position we supported, has become toxic in the rest of Europe. It's almost like as if David Cameron's in favour of it, it is pushing Europe the other way. That suggests a Prime Minister who cannot build alliances and cannot represent our interest in Europe.
But whether voters are really troubled by all this may be another matter.
A victory would have been great for his own positioning. A defeat probably won't harm him particularly because it's unlikely to be seen much in terms of people's impacting on people's lives.
The bigger question may be whether this takes us closer to a British exit from the European Union. The MP pushing the Conservatives' referendum bill through Parliament thinks reform is still possible.
They needn't if there is a sensible agenda of reform to make the EU relevant to its citizens. And that's why I'm proposing, of course, in my private member's bill, that we have a choice as to whether we stay in or not.
Although sceptical voices think it now more likely we will not.
But a third of the population say they would be prepared to stay in the European Union if we can negotiate a new deal that brings powers back from Brussels. The Prime Minister's humiliation today and the realisation that actually we can't get very much done makes it even more likely we won't get the deal and that people in a referendum will vote to leave.
So Mr Cameron's failure to stop a politician few people have heard of, get a job few people care about, may be a sign that Britain's membership of the European club now has an expiration date. Carl Dinnan, ITV News.
Well, let's go back now to James Mates in Brussels. And James, how much closer is Britain, do you think, to an EU exit tonight?
Well, David Cameron more or less admitted that it is a bit closer, or without saying so clearly, when he said that what has happened today will make any future renegotiation on which he thinks a successful referendum depends, will make it that much harder. But two important things happened today. This is the first time any country has ever been overruled when it has fundamental objections to who gets the top job in Europe, let alone a big country. And don't forget, all the British political parties were against Juncker. They may not have liked Cameron's tactics, but this is overruling Britain, not just Cameron or the Conservatives. The other thing is that supposed allies in Northern Europe who keep saying that they want to do all they can to keep Britain in the EU, well, David Cameron thought he had Angela Merkel on side. When she found her stand was unpopular at home, she deserted him. There are going to be much tougher battles ahead, and if she doesn't stand by him, if she doesn't support him in any way, there is, I think, a danger of the two sides more or less sleepwalking into divorce.
Yes, difficult days ahead. James, thank you very much indeed.
Video has emerged of a young British man explaining his decision to leave his family and home life behind in Brighton to join the front line in Syria.
Tonight, his father, who has already lost one son in the conflict, told ITV News British Muslims have every right to support the cause of Syria's rebels, and he's warning authorities not to label his family as terrorists. This report from John Ray.
He's young, idealistic and British. But here in Syria, he's found a cause worth killing for.
I came to Syria to answer the call of duty, and that is to give victory to the religion of Allah. And the way to do that is to help the oppressed Syrians here.
Ahmed Agayas says he's following his dream of jihad. For Britain's security services, that's a nightmare.
We saw the enemy about 5 to 10 meters.
He fights for the men of Al-Nusra, allies of Al-Qaeda, who've put a gun in his hand and made him into a battle-hardened warrior.
The only thing I'm afraid of is going back or running away or retreating.
He's been in Syria since November. Two brothers have joined him. Jafar, just 16 and perhaps the youngest British jihadist, and Abdullah, 18, whose Syrian adventure ended swiftly in blood.
His death was a sign of martyrdom as he felt back and he laughed and he smiled.
The boys were all UK-born, sons of Libyan exiles. Amir, brought up in Brighton, once aimed for a career in finance.
It took just a few £100 on a passport to get Amir from the seafront to the battlefront in Syria. But much more alarming from the point of view of British authorities is the ease with which he went from aspiring student to gun-toting fighter in a foreign land.
For the people who I'm here to protect.
Today we showed the video to Amir's father, a veteran of the Libyan uprising who himself has taken aid convoys to Syria. He told me that's as far as he wanted his son's involvement to go too.
I personally want my sons out of danger as a father. But the Muslim community has the right to support whomever they think is justifiable to support.
Amir's family insists he poses no threat to the UK. It's a claim unlikely to be tested. Their son says it's better to die in Syria than return to a British jail. John Ray, ITV News.
Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko has signed an historic free trade deal with the European Union. The agreement follows months of violence in Ukraine and the Russian annexation of Crimea. Russia objected strongly when Mr. Poroshenko's predecessor was due to sign a similar pact.
The World Health Organization has issued a warning across 4 countries about the spread of Ebola. 635 infections and 399 deaths have been recorded across Western Africa.
There may be more trouble ahead for the controversial payday lender Wonga. Police are looking into whether it should face a criminal investigation after sending fake legal letters warning customers to pay up. Earlier this week, the firm was forced to pay £2.4 million in compensation over the affair. Our business editor Joel Hills is here now. And Joel, how likely then are criminal charges in this case?
Well, it's impossible to say at this stage. I mean, what is worth saying is the City of London Police looked at this matter in March last year and decided they're not to investigate. They're now going to look again at that decision along with the regulator on Monday of next week, we understand. Now, this relates to letters sent by Wonga between 2008 2010 from law firms that didn't exist, to customers that are in arrears. And we've got a copy of one here, actually. It's a demand for payment. It warns the receiver that you failed to make good on your contractual obligations. It imposes a default fee of £50 and threatens legal action. Now, it's headed Barker and Lowe Legal Recoveries. It sounds like a law firm. It wasn't. These were names of Wonga staff in the office who weren't aware they were being used, as we understand it. Now, the City of London Police decided not to act. The Law Society has called on them to do so. It thinks there have been infringements here that may amount to blackmail, deception and an attempt to impersonate a solicitor. They want to see this properly investigated. Wonga has apologised fully. It's compensating customers, as you say, and it says it's changed.
All right, Joel, thank you very much indeed.
An inquest has ruled the death of a man at the hands of his schizophrenic grandson should have been prevented by police and health professionals. 81-year-old John McGrath was stabbed at his home in Nottinghamshire in 2009 by Will Barnard. Police, who missed a chance to arrest him over a previous robbery, were accused of negligence and incompetence. From the inquest, Damon Green reports.
For this family, it's a tragedy that has taken 5 years to come to a close. A coroner in Nottingham concluding that the death of John McGrath, father of 4, grandfather of 10, could and should have been prevented. Killed by the mentally ill grandson he loved.
He was Will's father figure. He would have done anything for Will, and that was, you know, he was striving all the time. That's what he wanted. He wanted Will to be better.
Will Barnard was diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. Despite concerns about him, health workers failed to visit or follow up his case, and police, who could have intervened, also failed to do so. The coroner accepted police didn't have a crystal ball, but what they did have was Will Barnard's name and address and CCTV linking him to a knife-point robbery near this park 2 months before his grandfather was killed. If at any point police had arrested him, that death would have been prevented, but they never did. John McGrath died at his home in Nottingham, stabbed dozens of times, the very day police and health workers had intended to interview his grandson.
You just could not make it up that 2 agencies, 2 separate agencies, one had planned to arrest him on the 24th of July and one had visited him on the 24th of July, and yet later that day my father was to die. You just could not make that up.
Despite the heartbreak, this family is still together. Will's mother visits him in the secure hospital where he's held and is even able to take some comfort from the fact he's being treated.
I can say that my dad would be happy that Will has actually got the help that my dad was fighting for, even if that was that my dad had to lose his life to do that.
Even for this loving grandfather, a terrible price to pay. Damon Green, ITV News in Nottingham.
Still to come, a new warning for England's emergency wards.
A&E units managed to avoid a winter crisis at the start of the year, but is a summer crisis now developing?
And the music is made to wait as the rain rolls in at Glastonbury. All that, plus the latest on Andy Murray at Wimbledon, when we come back.
Welcome back. Doctors warned today of a crisis in hospitals in England because of soaring demand for A&E services. The expected fall in chronically ill patients from winter to summer has failed to materialise, leading one hospital boss to tell ITV News she felt like she was working in Narnia, where the big freeze never stopped. Our health editor Catherine Jones reports.
A&E staff are used to pressure, but this year the demands on them haven't let up since Christmas.
11 minutes. 10 minutes.
At the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, they're now dealing with unprecedented numbers of patients.
On an average, we see about 260, 270 patients every day. But somehow this year, every Monday we had 300 plus patients. And this year we had a record of 338 patients for our hospital, for our emergency department.
Usually in May and June, A&E units get a bit of a breathing space with fewer chronically ill patients compared to the winter. But this year, unexpectedly, that seasonal lull just never happened.
I really don't know what's happening this year. It's starting to feel to us like in A&E, it's always winter. It's like the Narnia of the health service, really. It's summer outside, but inside the pattern of ill health of people with respiratory conditions, heart conditions is continuing to rise. There is no pattern to it that we can see.
But there is a worrying pattern to be seen in the key indicator of stress on the A&E system. That's the government target of fewer than 5% of patients waiting more than 4 hours to be dealt with. Last year, the graph shows that target was comfortably met from May through to December. But this year, the target has been breached for the whole of May and into June, only improving in the last couple of weeks. Hospitals also report they're admitting many more A&E cases to wards, meaning the pressure is not from patients who should have gone to their GP, it's from those who do need hospital care, like John Bennett, who's in after having an angina attack.
Does your GP say any time this happens, call 999?
They always tell me to call 999, yeah. Any time I think I'm having an angina attack, just to call 999. And about 5 minutes over there.
A&E units managed to avoid a winter crisis this year. They did not plan for their winter to last until June, and the extra money they're spending to cope will put hospitals in a weaker position to deal with the real winter when it comes.
So how are hospitals dealing with the extra pressure?
Well, they are throwing money at the problem. They are hiring extra agency staff and they are keeping beds open that they would normally have shut by the end of winter. The hospital we visited, for example, they're funding 170 extra beds at the moment that they normally wouldn't be. Remember, this is their quiet time usually, when they catch up with their backlog of elective operations and routine procedures. Now, there is money being put into the system. It's being pumped in by the Department of Health, about £600 million in total. But for there to be pressure at this time of year, so soon before the usual crisis time, it really is worrying.
OK, Cathy, thanks very much.
A former advisor to David Cameron has been charged with making and possessing indecent images of children. Patrick Rock was arrested in February at his home in London after Downing Street contacted police.
And 18-year-old England defender Luke Shaw has become football's most expensive teenager, signing for Manchester United from Southampton in a deal understood to be worth £27 million.
Tennis, and Andy Murray is in action right now at Wimbledon. The defending champion is taking on Spain's Roberto Bautista Agut, I think that's right, on centre court for a place in the last 16. Our sports correspondent Ian Payne, that is right, is at Wimbledon. Ian, how's he doing?
He's doing very well. He's on very late, actually. He's just got a break in his first set against his opponent. They're on late because of a tremendous women's singles match that's just finished about half an hour ago. Petra Kvitova just beating another former champion, Venus Williams, in 3 sets. It took over 2.5 hours. But as you say, Andy Murray is now on court. The hill is full, the roof is open, and we're underway. He's already had a break of serve. World number 23, a man from Spain who prefers playing on grass, strangely for a Spaniard, rather than clay. He's had a dramatic rise up the world rankings, but it should be an Andy Murray victory according to form. Just one thing about the weather forecasters, they got it completely wrong today. No showers, it's been scorchio. It's been absolutely wonderful and dry.
All right, we wish him well. Ian, thank you very much indeed.
Well, not so great weather over at Glastonbury. Of course, it wouldn't be complete without the odd drop of rain, and today they got that.
The music was halted for a time this evening as thunderstorms cut the power, but festival goers were not kept waiting for long. And as Rupert Evelyn now reports, the weather failed to dampen the spirits.
It's summer, it's Glastonbury, and it's muddy. As if on cue, and after weeks of perfect weather, the festival turned wet. The rain is the uninvited guest at this show, and at an event where everything is carefully managed, it's the one thing the organisers cannot control. But don't let that put you off. There are no damp spirits here, just a committed crowd.
We always come for the first band on the Pyramid stage, and what are they called?
Turtle Island.
Turtle Island, yeah, we're here to see
Japanese
them.
Band,
Never heard of them.
Well, the skies did clear and the party here at Glastonbury got underway, but the threat of further heavy showers is quite literally on the horizon. And right now it's in the shape of thunder and lightning. It's not yet the mud bath of previous years, and on day one, nothing is going to stop the entertainment. They've waited months for this moment in Somerset's cider country. The world's most famous music festival will roll on tonight and across the weekend. Acts as varied as the country singer Dolly Parton will perform on the same stage as the heavy metal band Metallica. This festival is, if anything, diverse. From the music to the weather, it's all here in the shadow of Glastonbury Tour. Rupert Evelyn, ITV News, Somerset.
That's all from us for now, but coming up at 10, how a self-confessed racist became Nelson Mandela's personal assistant. Zelda Lagrange explains how Mandela changed her and also talks about his unusual relationship with the Queen.
But she said, "Papa, you can't call the Queen Elizabeth." He said, "Why not? She calls me Nelson."
Join me and Ranveer Singh for that and more at 10, but for now, bye-bye.
Goodbye.